Welcome back to Cafeteria Drops for more comic book goodness from Valiant Comics. I have some excellent news because Alien Books and Valiant just dropped the bombshell announcement for the summer, the resurgence of the Valiant universe. So we're going to take a look at the announcement, the villain, and the new series that will lead up to this company-wide event. That's right, after a years-long Valiant drought, get ready for the ultimate showdown as Valiant's mightiest heroes face their greatest challenge yet in a company-wide event that will redefine the entire Valiant universe. In September, Resurgence of the Valiant Universe #1 is going to hit comic shops, promising heart-stopping action, breathtaking battles, and unexpected twists that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Leading up to the big event, Valiant is launching the Road to Resurgence series, kicking off in May, with titles like Faith Returns by Jody Houser and Alita Vidal, Exo Manowar Invictus by Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, and Fernando Hines Furukawa, and Rai, The Book of Dark by Dan Abnett and Emilio Otero, and Bloodshot Unleashed Reloaded by Mauro Montello and Rodrigo Rocha. And the excitement doesn't stop there. In June, we're going to see the launch of Ninjak vs. Roku by AJ Amadu and Emiliano Correa, followed by Eternal Warriors Last Ride of the Immortals, written by Fred Van Lente. But what's the big bad threat our heroes are going to face in Resurgence? It's Dr. Silk. He's been around since the first iteration of Valiant Comics, and he's a nefarious terrorist obsessed with power and immortality, who forges an unlikely alliance to reshape the Valiant universe itself. Sinister forces conspire to unravel reality, and it's up to our heroes to band together and confront this existential menace. But as public perception begins to tilt in Silk's favor, the fate of existence hangs in the balance and confrontation between heroes becomes inevitable. Lives will be changed, destinies will be rewritten, and the very essence of heroism will be put to the test in Resurgence. So mark your calendars, because starting in May 2024, the road to Resurgence of the Valiant universe begins, and you won't want to miss out on the action. I will say it's great to see Valiant back publishing books on a regular basis, while also building up to an event that has real ramifications. I hope to definitely see a resurgence happen for these characters. There's so much untapped potential here at Valiant Comics. Now let's take a look at each new series. The first comic, The Valiants, is a limited series consisting of 4 issues written by Ryan Cady and drawn by Al Barrenuevo. Cady has many writing credits to his name, including X-Files, Adventure Time, and Infinite Dark. His experience with science fiction will certainly lend itself nicely to setting the stage for the event featuring Dr. Silk. Barrenuevo has also worked on Bloodshot Unleashed Reloaded, which I was not a fan of, but hopefully he ups his game for this title. Any title that sees Exo, Bloodshot, the Eternal Warriors, and other Valiant characters teaming up is okay in my book. Let's just hope the execution is close to what we got in 2015's masterpiece, The Valiant. So far, the premise and lineup looks promising. Valiant certainly wouldn't shoot itself in the foot, would they? They most definitely would not push one of their least popular characters instead of prominent ones like Shadow Man. Right? Oh wait, what's this? Faith Returns. So we have Faith Returns by Jody Houser and Alita Vidal. What can I say here? Valiant, why do you always do this? Why are you so dedicated to pushing this character? Look, how about Faith doesn't return and we get more Quantum and Woody? That sounds good to me. This cover from the 2016 election tells you all you need to know about this character. A body positivity social media manager superhero whose only power is the ability to fly is as cringy as it sounds. Plus, we're treated with this instead of more Shadow Man or Quantum and Woody? Really? I'll be reading this, but not because I want to, Valiant. Ugh. Now on to better things. Exo Manowar Invictus by Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, and Fernando Hines Furukawa. Of course, these writers did an excellent job constructing an intriguing narrative with Exo Manowar Unconquered, so I have little worry about the quality of the writing on this title. I'm a big Exo fan, and as such, I'm not entirely sold on the visuals here. It's a stylized manga aesthetic that is unlike any other run of Exo, who has always leaned heavily into a gritty and realistic art style. However, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't looking forward to more Exo Manowar. Who doesn't like sci-fi space battles featuring a sentient armor and aliens? The next book is the book I'm most looking forward to in May, Rai, the Book of the Dark, a continuation of the Rai series from 2019 that followed Rai and Raijin as they made their way across a post-apocalyptic world collecting the pieces of the AI father who created Rai in the year 4001. The series ended with Master Dark showing up to much fanfare. It was really excellent stuff. This series is again being written by Dan Abnett, whose writing credits are extensive for Marvel, DC, and Valiant. Art is being handled by Emilio Utrera, whose visuals are again not up to par with previous efforts, but I'm willing to give it a chance considering this is my favorite character. The last book for May is Bloodshot Unleashed Reloaded number 3 by Mauro Mantella and Rodrigo Rocha. Now, although I was not impressed by the previous issues of this series, Bloodshot will always be one of my favorite characters. I'm interested to see what the new creative team does with this title, as Dennis Camp is no longer writing and Al Barrenuevo is on art duties for the Valiants. How they tie this series into Resurgence is also up in the air at this point, as this series is already ongoing. Mantella has a few writing credits and translates indie comics, and Rocha has little experience in the comics industry but describes his art style as a blend of manga and American comic styles. I'm seeing a trend here, and I just don't know if I'm a fan or not yet with all the new talent. Here's hoping the new creative team can bring Bloodshot back to his former glory. Then in June, we get a new Ninjak series called Ninjak vs. Roku by AJ Ampadu and Emiliano Correa. Now, you know my opinion on the last Ninjak series published by Alien Books and Valiant. It was a steaming pile, so I'm glad to see a fresh creative team on this title as well. Ampadu has a pretty impressive resume, including successful crowdfunding for his own comic projects and being the founder of the Earthtone Kingdom comic imprint. He could prove to be a positive for this series for sure. However, Correa is a freelance artist who has only a few projects under his belt. His style seems to fit Ninjak nicely, and I'll have to say that I like the redesign of the costume. I guess we'll just have to wait to see how this one turns out. The next title is going to be released in August and is an interesting one for sure. It's called Eternal Warriors Last Ride of the Immortal, written by Fred Van Lente and Alvaro Papagianni. This sounds like perfection, an Eternal Warriors series set in the Wild West. It sounds awesome. Now, if you're a Valiant fan like me, you will certainly recognize one of those names I just mentioned. Van Lente wrote the incredible reboot of Archer and Armstrong beginning in 2012, so to see him handling writing duties for the Anipata brothers again is perfect. His wit, humor, and skill at writing conversational dialogue is second to none. Now, Alvaro Papagianni is another unknown variable at play in this event, and he doesn't have many other credits to his name other than the recently released Britannia series from Valiant. His work was commendable there, so I think he'll fit right in with this title. Well, that brings us to September with the release of the Resurgence of the Valiant Universe #1, written by Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. An artist hasn't been announced yet, but I'll be sure to let you guys know once that happens. If this writing team gives the same care to this title that they did with Exo Manowar Unconquered, then I'm sure this series is in good hands. They really impressed me with their work on that title. There are also two other series that remain undated, so not much is known about them. The Dark's Soulside and Archer and Armstrong Assassination are the two titles. Once more details are revealed, I'll make sure you guys know. So to sum things up for the Resurgence of the Valiant Universe, there's a lot of new going on. The pros of this lineup are new books every month, new creative talent on each book, and a new company-wide event to essentially reboot the universe. A Western Eternal Warriors book, and a continuing partnership with Alien Books. There's a lot of new going on at Valiant Comics right now. Now the cons, in my opinion, of this new creative direction are the fact that they're new. New talent, new writers, new artists, with no track record. Valiant's hit or miss quality over the last several months is also a factor to consider. And faith. Again, Valiant, why are you pushing this character? Well, that about wraps things up concerning Valiant and Alien Books' Resurgence of the Valiant Universe. Until next time, comic book enthusiasts, keep your eyes peeled for more epic announcements and stay hungry for adventure. See you soon.